Commanders hire Dan Quinn to match with their new general manager, Adam Peters, to lead this franchise into the future.
The way that we live is not for everybody, okay? It's not, all right? Because we're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, Monday Night Football has arrived, and the Commanders will be a part of a doubleheader tonight, the second leg of that doubleheader. Jags and Bills will kick off the night at 7:15. The Commanders and Bengals will follow up at 8:15. And this is a game that I think, having watched the entire league this weekend and having watched them the first 3 weeks now and having a much clearer picture of what's going on. And look, there's still a lot to be decided. You know, we're still kind of filling out teams and seeing what everybody's about, including our own team, and kind of finding out what they are capable of, what they aren't capable of. This game tonight is going to provide the Commanders with something tonight, right? The question is, what is it providing the Commanders with? What does this game in particular on Monday Night Football allow the Commanders to show? What does it represent? This game represents an opportunity. That's the magic word for today for the Commanders. It represents an opportunity. Now, what are they going to do with this opportunity? And an opportunity for what? It's an opportunity for a lot of things. This could go in a number of different directions. We're not going to get many of these opportunities that we're going to receive tonight on a national stage to change the narrative, to show that it is different here in Washington this time around, to show that this team is growing. They are moving in the right direction. We did get the right quarterback. We did hire the right coach. We did hire the right GM. You're not going to be able to have this be a referendum on all of those things in one night. One game is not going to do that. But you can take a step in the right direction in terms of how people feel, how teams respect you, how other fans of other teams respect you, how they view your situation, how they view your quarterback. You go up here and you make a mess of this situation like you did last year in a similar spot against the Chicago Bears. And that was a Thursday night, obviously, but same thing, right? Primetime stage, you're the only show in town. We won't be the only show in town tonight. We'll be splitting time, and I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't mind it. Some people are a little disappointed that we don't have the whole show to ourselves. I don't mind at all. But this is an opportunity. And this opportunity is what we make it. That's what we're being provided tonight. That's what this game tonight represents. An opportunity. Now, it could look like it did last year against the Bears, where we come out and we absolutely wet ourselves with these bright lights and this big stage, and we get stage fright. And we piss down our leg, and we clam up, and we get beat up on national television. And the environment will be set. The stage will be set for that to take place if we don't come out and show some sense of pride, some sense of focus, some sense of preparation. If we don't show those things, this is not at home against a lackluster opponent. 0-2 or not, this Cincinnati Bengals team is a playoff team. Trust me. If Joe Burrow is healthy at the end of this season, they will be one of the 7 teams in the postseason come January. I assure you of that. As a matter of fact, there was a game that took place last season, exact same spot. It's like clockwork. It's almost like deja vu. It's scary even. Week 3, Monday Night Football, doubleheader. Guess who hosted that? I'll give you one guess who hosted the second game, the second leg of that doubleheader? I'll give you one guess. That's right. The Cincinnati Bengals did. And you know what their record was? I'll give you one guess. Don't think too hard. They were 0-2. And the Los Angeles Rams went into Cincinnati with a chance to make them 0-3 and bury them. Put them out of their misery in September. And they had every chance. They got into the red zone 3 or 4 times that night, and they couldn't come away with points, and they decided to go for it, and they did not score touchdowns, and they lost a game that they easily could have won in Cincinnati, like 19-13 or something like that. Cincinnati got off to Schneid. They took that win. They parlayed that into like 4 wins straight. And before you know it, a 0-2 team was 4-2 and one of the hottest teams in football. That doesn't have to be our story this year, right? That doesn't have to be our situation. The opportunity will be presented for Jaden Daniels, to be on a national stage. He's been here before. He's played in bigger stadiums. He's played in bigger games. It's a regular season game. But he's never played on a stage like this in the NFL. And this is going to be an opportunity for him to show that, yeah, I am the best rookie quarterback that was selected this year. And I am on a different level than the other guys. And I can help lead my team to victory. He hasn't turned the ball over yet. And at some point he will. And that may be tonight. Let's hope it isn't. But at some point, he's going to turn the ball over. It's going to happen, right? He's not perfect. I've got my eye on that interception streak that CJ Stroud set last year of the most attempts without throwing an interception to start an NFL career. I think it's 176. We got a long way to go. He's not, CJ Stroud was throwing it, 30, 40 some odd times a game early in his career. So that allowed him to get to that number a lot faster than Jaden. And I'm perfectly fine with Jaden throwing the football 27, 29, which were numbers in 2 out of his first 3 games. I think the first game of the season against Tampa, he was 17-24. Last week, he was 23 of 29. So 29 is his career high so far. 24 and 29 are the 2 attempts that he's had. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's where the number probably should be if we're playing the kind of football that's going to give us a chance. The opportunity sits here for the Commanders to go out and show that, hey, even if they don't win this game, they're no pushover. Things are changing. They're a much better coach team. And yes, it's going to be very evident when you watch the game, when you look at some of the players that are on the field for it, that we aren't anywhere close to having the type of roster that's going to allow you to compete against the upper echelon of the NFL. And that's fine because we're in the first year of a rebuild. That's absolutely fine. That's where we're supposed to be, right? But it's what you get out of those players. It's how you put those players in positions to succeed, where we'll be able to determine what this coaching staff is doing. The last group was awful. And they didn't do a good job of taking the talent that they were given and putting them in positions to succeed. And we paid for it dearly in situations just like this one on a national stage. We were the biggest underdogs heading into the week. We are the biggest underdogs currently. All the games have been played. And Vegas saw fit to make us the biggest dogs of the week. There's no confidence in this team's ability to go out and be super competitive in this game. We're expected to go to Cincinnati and get throttled. And nobody will blink if it happens. You know why? Because we're supposed to do that. That's what we've always done. The last time, we're 7-23 on Monday Night Football. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? This is what we do. We lose on Monday Night Football. And a lot of times it's not even close. It's a spanking. When we get embarrassed and people point and laugh and say, at least we're not the Commanders. You're not changing all of that in one night. You can't win 16 games in one game and be 500 on Monday night. But what you can do is brick by brick, piece by piece, change the narrative. Here's an opportunity to do exactly that. Again, I don't expect a win. It'd be nice, but that's not what I'm expecting. But I am expecting to see a well-oiled machine, a team that looks prepared for their opponent, a team that looks like they have a game plan, a team that looks like they can go out and execute, and a team that has a bright future. And that's what this year is supposed to be about. And if you can accumulate wins while you're doing that, while you're building that foundation, while you're setting that foundation and building a culture, if you can collect wins while you're doing it, all the better. These are one of the games on the schedule that you look at and you say, hey, what are we truly made of? This isn't a fun opportunity to go and compete, as head coach Dan Quinn likes to say. This is a great opportunity to go out and compete. No, that's not what this is about. This is about showing what you're about, what you're made of. If this coaching staff is getting through to these players and they're locked in, they'll come out here and they'll fight their asses off and they'll make this a super competitive football game, one that we will have a chance to win in the fourth quarter. If they don't, then it means we got a long way to go. It doesn't mean that the players aren't, taking to coaching. It just means we got a long, long way to go. And the shit that they've been preaching, it just isn't sinking in quite yet. And we have physical limitations too. And they could put these players in great positions to make plays, and they just don't make them because the Bengals are just flat out better than us. And we know that. We know that. There's going to be a lot of games where that is the case, where, damn, we just don't have the horses. That doesn't mean you can't be competitive, though. Tonight presents an opportunity for the Commanders. The question for me is, what are they going to do with that opportunity? Are they going to go out and be the defense that we've seen them be the first 2 weeks? They can't stop a nosebleed. We're the worst third down defense in the NFL right now. And I think it's probably by a wide margin. We're giving up over 60% of third downs, which is insane. Insane. League average is right around 40. We're 20 percentage points higher than the league average. We should be ashamed of ourselves. But it's 2 games, small sample size, doesn't matter. You got to be better on third downs. That's one of the areas that determines the outcome of a football game. And right now, we're lousy at it. And the fact that we're even 1-1 instead of 0-2 is amazing. We've looked disjointed in terms of our discipline the first 2 weeks. 7 penalties against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another 7, I believe, against the Giants, maybe even more in that game. I believe it was 7 in each of the first 2 games, but could have easily been 10 or 12. We probably had about 7 on offense alone last week with all the false starts. So that's an area that we need to clean up. You think you're going to go on the road and beat a team like Cincinnati committing penalties? You got another thing coming. Here's an opportunity to take a step towards changing the narrative. Here's an opportunity to take a step forward towards being a team that is respected around the league. Here's an opportunity to showcase your young quarterback and show everybody that, hey, we got ourselves a star in the making. I'm watching Malik Neighbors, and everybody's already said it to themselves. Okay, yeah, he's a star in the making. He's a stud. Here's an opportunity for us to prove that we drafted one too. Of the 3 quarterbacks that were taken that are starting as rookies, there were 6 in the first round. Only 3 of them are making their starts in the NFL from week 1. Jaden has looked the best, but he hasn't tossed a touchdown pass yet. And, look, that doesn't bother me one bit right now. I could care less about that, to be honest with you. I want him to continue to take care of the football and continue to give us a chance to win, and that's what he's been doing. But at some point, we got to evolve, and we got to find the end zone. And whether it's on the ground or with his legs in particular, or him throwing the football or somebody else throwing the football, I don't give a shit. But you know you're not going to win a ton of games in this league kicking a bunch of field goals. We were the first team in NFL history to give up 3 touchdowns, not score any touchdowns of our own, and win the game, right? Off of straight field goals in regulation. It's never happened in NFL history. We were the first team to do it. So you want to win this game, gonna have to find pay dirt. Gonna have to find pay dirt. The opportunity is there. What are we gonna do with it? We're gonna embarrass ourselves and look like the same old Redskins / Commanders? Or are we gonna make a statement to the rest of the league that, look, this ain't the same Commanders that you could just run all over, do whatever the hell you want to do, and mark us down for a dub on your schedule? You want a dub, you're going to have to come take a dub, and you're going to have to play the kind of football that lends itself to winning. You can't just show up and get one. Here's another opportunity to prove that, to show that. We'll see what they do with it. You go to In Other News, and we heard from head coach Dan Quinn on Saturday, so we'll talk about what was said there. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the final injury report for tonight's game and what the situation will be. There may be a couple of game time decisions, but for the most part, we kind of know who is and isn't going to play in this game. But let's take a look and see what both teams have going on. So you start with the good guys, obviously. And Clelin Ferrell had been a guy that was a little iffy. I thought he wasn't going to play last week. I was actually shocked that he played last week. Remember, him and Quan Martin showed up on the injury report at the end of last week against in the preparation for the Giants on Friday. And so that spooked me a bit. Was actually shocked to see that he was up and Jamin Davis was not. Expect Jamin Davis to be up and active this week, obviously with the injury to Clelin Ferrell. So Ferrell is out of this game. Head coach Dan Quinn said that his knee just didn't turn the way that it needed to for them to feel comfortable putting him out on the field, and they'll look to have him back next week on the road at Arizona. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Forbes is questionable. He said that they'll take him up to game time, but I told you, I've already kind of figured out DQ's mannerisms and how he speaks. And when he speaks in terms of when he speaks in a way that tells you that this is going to happen, when he speaks in certainties, that's the word I was looking for, by using phrases that lend you to believe that this is going to happen, then you feel good about it. He'll tell you when a guy's going to play, right? Like we knew when Johnny Newton was going to play. Emmanuel Forbes is not playing this week. He said that he would have liked to have seen more reps out of him throughout the course of the week, which he's telling you, he's kind of alluding to the fact that, hey, it's cool that he was out there, but I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more. And because I didn't get to see him as much this week, I'm not as confident putting him out there yet. So I think he'll be a guy that you'll see next week. So I wouldn't expect Emmanuel Forbes to be active tonight. But we'll see. He could be active tonight, but not play, right? If they need him, because, you know, Benjamin St. Juste was dealing with a little bit of a groin. They might feel the need to just have him active in the event that something goes awry. But why not just have a whole nother corner that's fully active, healthy, and can go and have no limitations? And I think they'll keep Forbes out one more week, and I think he'll be ready to rock and roll next week against Arizona. Johnny Newton, he talked about how excited he is for Newton. He said this was the best week of practice he's had, and that he's ready to be cut loose, essentially. Everybody else are good to go. As you can see, there's no other names on the injury report. So those are the only two names that really should concern any of us. And we already know Ferrell is out, and Forbes is probably going to be out too, more likely than not. So nothing really here that should be too concerning if you're a Commanders fan as you go to the ops and the Cincinnati Bengals. So they had a number of guys on this list, but most of them you felt like, yeah, they're gonna play in the game, right? So let's knock those out real quick. Joe Burrow, Mike Gesicki, T. Higgins, and Amarius Mims are all full systems go. All systems go for this game on Monday night. So we knew Burrow was going to play. We knew T. Higgins was going to play. We knew Mike Gesicki was going to play. Wasn't sure about Amarius Mims, but he's going to go as well. So then you get to the guys that had some issues throughout the week practicing and that we were keeping our eye on. Von Bell did not practice pretty much all week, was limited on Thursday, but he's dealing with a back injury. I think Von Bell has a chance to miss this football game. And my guess would be that he won't play, but we'll see. BJ Hill with a hamstring is doubtful. He's not going to play, right? Same can be said for Sheldon Rankins, who has already been ruled out of this game. And then you look at Chris Jenkins with the thumb injury. He's questionable. He's going to play, right? They're already down 2 big-time defensive tackles. They can't afford a third, their rookie out of Michigan, to also be out. He'll be in the game, but they're hurting that defensive tackle, and this was a team already struggled stopping the run to begin with. So we need to be able to take advantage of that. Tanner Hudson, one of their backup tight ends, out of this game with a knee injury. So they're a little banged up. Nothing really too big to write home about other than the defensive tackles. We need to take advantage of that. We'll see if we're able to take advantage of that. But the big story here is they're getting T. Higgins back. And I'm pretty sure they'll trade the 2 defensive tackles for T. Higgins back on offense. So we'll see how he assimilates himself to the offense. He's going to be a problem. We all know it. And I just hope that it's not too big of a problem to overcome in this football game. So let's get back to the head coach. And he started off by his press conference by listing the captains for this game. It started late, so I don't know who the third captain is. I know 2 of the 3. I'm pretty sure you guys can fill in the blank on the third captain. But one of the captains is Bobby Wagner. Another captain is Tress Way. I don't know who the third captain is for this game. So you guys can fill in the blank there and tell me who the third captain is. So he started off his press conference with that. Then he started talking about the injury situation. He talked about Cleveland Farrell, how the knee didn't turn. And then he talked about Emmanuel Forbes and how he would have liked to seen him practice more, which leads me to believe he'll be inactive tonight as well. And so then he talked about, the challenges that the Bengals present and this environment will present to the team and how this is an opportunity. And just like I just said, it's an opportunity for us to go out and show the improvements that have been made, right? We had an extra day of practice this week, an extra opportunity or an extra day of preparation, rather, whether they use that day to self-scout and to clean up some of their own issues or use that as an extra day to prepare for Cincinnati or both, whatever the case may be. I want to see the fruit of their labor play itself out on the field. Right? I want to see that bear fruit. All this extra work that they got this week because of the extra day, let's see what it can do. I know they also had to start probably preparing for Arizona because it's going to be a short week, but this is an opportunity on a big stage to get it done, right? And so I want to see what they do. We still got a number of things to clean up, and they're aware of that. But he talked about, this moment, this opportunity, and don't want it to be too big for the guys. And look, this isn't the first Monday night game for a lot of these players, right? Like, really you're talking more so about the rookies, guys who haven't been in this spot. But most of the players have played on Monday Night Football before. So it's not a big deal. While it's a different roster, it's not the youngest roster in the NFL by any stretch of the imagination. So, he talked about not having Jaden put the cape on, not feeling the need to have to put the cape on and just go out and play ball. And he agreed with that assessment. Like, yeah, we don't need him to go out here and feel like he's got to go win us the game. We just need to go out here and do the things that we know we're capable of doing. And if we do that, we'll be fine, right? And so when you look at this team and where we are, and we're fortunate to be 1-1, a lot of things to clean up. They're well aware of that. They know that this is a desperate Bengals team. They may not come out and say it, but they know, right? And I watched the Ravens yesterday. I watched the Rams yesterday. There's a level of desperation that hits when you're 0-2, knowing that you can't fall to 0-3. The Bengals have been here. They live. I just told you they were in this exact same spot last year, hosting a Monday night game on a doubleheader at 0-2, staring the Rams in the face at home. And they barely won the game at home on a Monday night last year. But that was a different Bengals team. Joe Burrow was still coming off of that calf. And so, he wasn't 100%. And they were still figuring out things on that side of football, trying to work around Joe's limitations. No such luck for us this week, this year. So we know what's at stake. We watched the rest of the division except for Dallas win. So again, we're not clocking the division at this point of the season. That's not what we're doing. This isn't week 13, and you're keeping a watchful eye on what everybody else is doing. But you do know what opportunities lie ahead. And so you want to see what they're able to do with this. So let's get to the game plan and talk about what needs to be done in order for the Commanders to have a chance to win this ball game, and what they're going to have to do in order to not necessarily win. Because again, I know a lot of you want to win this game, so do I, but I'm not expecting that. What I'm expecting is for them to be competitive in this game. That's what I'm expecting. So offensive keys, we'll start with those, right? Weather the storm early, okay? This environment is going to be raucous. The crowd is going to be juiced up. They're going to smell blood because as an 0-2 team, they know they got to have it. There's no other way to say it. They got to have it tonight. And we're standing in the way. And they're at full strength offensively. And they expect to go out and run through this right now ragged defense like a hot knife through butter. They know that we're not good defensively. They've watched the film. They see how they can exploit us. We act as if we've never seen trips or a bunch formation or stack, and we lose our minds when guys run up the field and somebody runs a corner, somebody runs a go route, and they flood a zone, and they give us high-low concepts, and we just blow it, right? So they're gonna test us to see how we hold up, and we're gonna have to prove that we've figured it out. And we'll be throwing out a different combination again at cornerback in that secondary. So who knows what the hell we're going to get tonight. But we better be prepared for whatever is to come. Offensively, though, I know that I'm putting the onus on the offense to weather the storm. This is really a full team goal here. Offensively, defensively, special teams, we need to come ready to play early in this game and not let this shit get out of hand, from the word go. But I'm putting the onus on the offense because I trust them more. With great power comes great responsibility. Right now, the defense is struggling, and that's an understatement. I can't ask them to do anything right now. I'm just asking them to just hold on. Just hold on. Just give us a chance. That's not my energy for the offense. To whom much is given, much is expected. I expect this offense. You've shown me you're capable. So I need you to weather the storm early, offense. You possess the football for a 6-7 minute drive. Look, if you want to go out and on the first play get a 65-yard explosive for a touchdown, fine, do that too. I don't give a shit. That'll silence the crowd just like a 6-minute drive will that ends in a touchdown. Will. It'll achieve the same thing, right? But I'm putting the onus on the offense. Weather the storm early. They'll be loud. It'll be crazy. I don't know if we'll get the ball first or not. Honestly, I always want the ball after half. with you in this game, but if we win the toss and we defer to the second half, I'm perfectly fine with that. I want that. Even if the Bengals go down the field and make it look easy and score a touchdown, you can still weather the storm by coming out and scoring on your first possession and matching their energy, and that'll sit the crowd down. And once you settle into the game, once the crowd settles in, we'll be fine. But if you let these boys jump on us 14-0, 17-0, first quarter, it's 10-0, it's 14-0, or they're up 7-0 and they're driving as the start of the second quarter hits and they score a touchdown, it's 14-0, early stages of the second quarter, we're in trouble. We're on the ropes at that point. You got to weather the storm early if you're the offense. We should be able to run the football in this game. We should be able to control time of possession in this game. We should be able to get into manageable down and distances, which is my next key to victory offensively. Run the football and stay on schedule. Run the football, stay on schedule. I'm not telling you not to throw the football on first downs. I'm not telling you to get away from the quick game. That's been very effective for us. Those wide receiver screens, those quick passes to the running backs or to the tight ends or to the wide receivers, getting it out of Jaden's hands quickly, getting it to the playmakers. Keep doing that too. But above all else, run the football. They haven't proven that they are a consistent run-stopping defense. And with their two big defensive tackles out of this ball game, that should make it even easier for us to run the football. Right up the teeth of their defense. Threaten their edges with Jaden and Austin Eckler and the short, quick pass game, and soften them up the middle with B-Rob. Run the football, stay in third and manageable, stay in 3rd and 5, so 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. We can't find ourselves in 3rd and 7s and 8s and 9s and 10s due to penalties or due to lack of consistency on 1st and 2nd downs. We have to stay out of those 3rd and long situations where they know they're getting a pass. And we got to drop back and allow routes to develop down the field in order to move the sticks. Because Trey Hendrickson does lurk. He is on that side of the football for them, and he's dangerous. He'll be the best pass rusher we've seen this season to this point. We have to be able to establish the run in this game and stay on schedule offensively. And that means you got to avoid the penalties because you can't stay on schedule with a penalty on 2nd and 7 that puts you in 2nd and 12. You can't stay on schedule on 3rd and 4 with a false start that puts you at 3rd and 9. You have to stay on schedule in this game. These aren't the Giants. Next offensive key. Protect the Duke and finish drives with points. Yeah, I said that last week, and they took me literal, right? They took me for the exact way I phrased it. They literally said, oh, just finish the drive with points. You didn't say what kind of points. I'm going to continue to echo those sentiments. Finish drive with points. Preferably, and I'm going to say this loud and clear, we want touchdowns. We want touchdowns. But field goals count too. And as we found out last week, field goals do win games. They won't win many in this league, but field goals can win you games. When scoring opportunities present themselves, we want the end zone. That's always the goal. That'll never change. But if we can't find pay dirt, the next best thing is splitting the uprights with a field goal and putting 3 points on the board. Get something. Get something. We want touchdowns, though. And the red zone offense has to be way more efficient. Way more efficient. I'll take it a step further. If we get into the red zone tonight 4 times, 3 of them must be touchdowns. 3 of them must be touchdowns in order to have a chance to win this game. You want to be competitive? 2 of them need to be touchdowns. You want a chance to win the game? 3 of them need to be touchdowns. If we get into the red zone 3 times, We probably need all 3 of them because it's going to take 3 touchdowns to win this game. To be honest with you, it's going to take 3 touchdowns to win this game. 2 won't do. Unless you get 2 and 4 field goals. That'll get you 26 points, and that'll give you a shot. Can't guarantee you anything, but it'll give you a shot. We haven't turned it over. Continue to not turn it over. I can't stress that enough. For a team like us who just doesn't have the type of talent that other teams around the league have, we can't afford mistakes. Penalties are one thing. Turnovers are a whole different animal. The reason we won the game last week is because we didn't turn it over and we created a turnover. That one turnover was massive in the outcome of that game. Massive. Got to continue to protect the Duke. Last offensive key. We got to hit at least 4 explosives in this game. Bare minimum. Bare minimum. And what I term an explosive is a play of 20 yards or more. A play of 20 plus yards. We need at least 4 of those in this game. And it doesn't matter how they come. Whether it's Jaden's legs, B-Rob's legs, an Austin Eckler screen, a Terry McLaurin deep ball, Lamade Zaccheaus or De'Ami Brown wide receiver screen, Noah Brown dig route, a Zach Ertz seam ball. It doesn't matter what it looks like. I don't give a shit who gets it. We just need it. We need at least 4 of them. It's hard in this league to matriculate your way down the field. And as we've seen, it's hard to do it without something going awry. A penalty, a setback of some sort, of sack. We had 5 of those we gave up last week, even though, 3 of them were probably avoidable. Something can go wrong on a drive. When you got to go 12, 13, 14, 15 plays. We saw it last week. We put together this beautiful opening drive, 15 plays, 16th play happens, and we get a false start. We're going to go for it on 4th down. Now we got to kick a field goal. We need some explosives. We had some last week. The B-Rob runs were explosives, 32-40. The Austin Eckler catch and run on the little screen, which was beautiful. That was an explosive. We need those. The Noah Brown, dig route was an explosive. That was over 20 yards. We need those. Ertz had a couple of nice plays. We need those. Those flip field position, they get drives started. They put you in scoring range. We need explosives. Let's get to the defensive side of the football. Defensive key number 1, eliminate coverage busts and explosives. So I talked about us needing explosives. Cincinnati needs explosives. They haven't really created a ton of them offensively this season. Part of the reason they've struggled on offense is because they're used to Jamar Chase getting on top of the defense and hitting you for a 58-yard touchdown. They're used to that happening. They're used to T. Higgins getting up the sidelines for a 38-yard touchdown where he mosses on somebody and goes up and gets the football. They haven't had that. There's no more Joe Mixon. There are no more explosive runs right now. Everything has kind of been nickel and dime underneath. Let's work our way down the field, and we need to keep it that way. That's why they were 4 of 11 on 3rd downs in week 1. They were better last week against Kansas City, but they're not a great 3rd down offense because they haven't run the football and been effective in the 1st and 2nd down situations, and they haven't been getting explosive plays. The easiest way to give up an explosive is to have a coverage bust. We didn't really have many last week. I wouldn't consider someone getting beaten man-to-man a coverage bust, but you can't run into each other on a simple mesh concept. Can't run into each other. We're going to have to find a way to not allow a Jamar Chase to go apeshit in this game. We see a number 1 receiver, and we automatically give up the draws. Every time. I can't think of the last time we saw a true number 1 wide receiver and we just didn't give it up. Here's another opportunity against a premier elite NFL wide receiver to say, hey, not today. Let's see what happens. Number 2, in terms of defensive keys, stop the run. I was so disappointed in the run defense last week. The Giants are not a great rush offense team, and yet we made them look like the Giants of 2007, or 2006 with Tiki Barber or Ahmad Bradshaw and Jacobs. Well, you would have thought they still had Eli Manning back there with, that offensive line that allowed them to win a couple of Super Bowls, and Ahmad Bradshaw back there and Jacobs still running the football. You would have thought Tiki Barber had come out of the gates last week and was ready to put a 200 spot on our heads like he used to. We had Devin Singletary out there looking like a stud. That shit was embarrassing last week. The run defense was garbage. The Bengals are trash at running the football. They're one of the worst teams in the league running the football right now. They have no lead back, nobody that scares you. This shouldn't be a week where we struggle to stop the run. And the Bengals don't need help by having, anything taken off of Joe Burrow's play. I want everything on Joe Burrow's play tonight. He needs to have to carry them. And if he does it, I tip my cap to one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't need any help. I don't want to look up and one of their running backs has 15 carries for 82 yards and he's averaging almost 6 yards a pop. I don't want to see that shit tonight. It should be 15 carries for 31 yards because that's the type of backs they have. That's the type of rush offense they have. And that's the type of rush defense we're supposed to be playing. Shut that shit down, force them into 3rd and long situations, get after Burrow's ass, and have an opportunity to win this game. Speaking of which, next key defensively, get to 3rd and long and get off the field. We're the worst 3rd down defense in the NFL right now. I talked about this at the top of the show. I talked about this last week when we went over some of the numbers, when we went behind enemy lines, when we talked about our statistics this season. We stink on 3rd downs. I don't need statistics to tell us that. We watched it. We saw the Bucs go 9 of 13 in week 1. We watched the Giants go 4 of 8 in week number 2. We know that we can't stop a nosebleed on 3rd downs. That needs to change. Especially if we get them into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11. I'm going to tell you this right now, and you'll know when it comes. There will be a big 3rd down in this game, and it'll be 3rd and long. And I can't tell you when it'll come. It could come early in the game. We're on the ropes. It's 7-0, and the Bengals have all the momentum, and they're driving, and it's, and they're approaching midfield, and it's 3rd and 9. And if we give this shit up, they're in scoring range, and this shit could get out of hand, right? Or we could be up, and we could have the momentum, and we could be up 10-0 or 10-3, and it's 3rd and 9, it's 3rd and 10, and you can feel it. It's a big possession. If we get this stop with the way the offense is rolling, we've scored on 2 consecutive possessions. We could slam the door on these boys. Or we could be in the 3rd quarter, and the Bengals have opened up a 13-point lead, and we just scored, right? We just scored on our last possession. It was a 20-point lead. They were beating the brakes off of us. But here we are, it's 13 now. You get a stop here, you go down and score again, and all of a sudden, we just watched the Cowboys come back, erase the deficit. I watched the Rams erase a 17-point deficit yesterday. It can happen real quick. Tide turns, you get the momentum, and all of a sudden, they can't stop you. You'll know when that moment comes. It could be late in the game. Bengals are up 6. It's 3rd and 10, and we got to have it. They get this 1st down. We're going to have to start using our timeouts, and clock becomes a factor. You'll know when it happens. It may be 2 or 3 of them in the game, but I'm going to say there's going to be 1 3rd and long in this game that we're going to need to get a stop. And so far this season, we haven't been able to do it for whatever reason. We're going to have to be able to get off the field on third downs. If we can't do that, we won't win. You're not going to win very many games this season by allowing the opponent to go, 9 of 13, which was just a shade under 70%. You're not going to win a lot of games with your opponent going 4 of 8 on third downs, which is 50%. You're not going to win a lot of games doing that. We got to clean that shit up. Get off the field on third downs. The easiest way is to, on first and second down, limit the productivity of this Bengals team, whether they're trying to run it or they're trying to get to the quick game. And boy, don't get me started on tackling. We'll get to that next here in a second. Last key to the game. Ball is life. Y'all know what that means. I don't need to get into the particulars of that. Ball is life. I need it. Pressure Burrow and get him down. And lastly, tackle. The tackling has gotten better, but it's nowhere near where we need it to be, right? Nowhere near where it needs to be. We got to get to Burrow. If he stands back there today, we got no shot. We got no shot. He'll have a field day with us. If he's standing back there like Daniel Jones was last week, building a house, oh, it will get ugly fast. I don't want to hear anything about double teams, none of that shit this week. Somebody's got to get to the quarterback. And I don't give a shit who it is or how it's done. They got to figure it out, but we got to get to the quarterback and we got to disrupt Burrow. If he's allowed to stand back there in the pocket, we're going to lose this game, and it won't be close. It'll get ugly, and it'll get ugly fast. Because like I said before, they're not the Giants. They're going to score points. They're going to take advantage of opportunities. And Joe Burrow, when he gets a shot down the field with a receiver one-on-one, he doesn't miss. So if we don't get to him and disrupt him and make him come off of that first read, make him have to move in the pocket, it'll be a long day. And if we get to him, we got to get him on the ground. He's not elusive. We'll see elusive next week in Kyler Murray, okay? He ain't Kyler Murray. He ain't Baker Mayfield. Hell, he ain't even Daniel Jones in that regard. We got to get his ass on the ground, okay? Speaking of getting guys on the ground, let's not make Jamar Chase into Randy Moss in this game. Or let's not turn him into Anquan Bolden or Deebo Samuel, where he's breaking 500,000 tackles. Let's not make T. Higgins look like Megatron in this game. Let's not make their running backs look like Derrick Henry. Can we please tackle whoever has the football? And you know what else I want to see tonight? I want to see a bunch of hats flying to the ball. I want to see effort. I want to see energy. I want to see guys playing with an enthusiasm and a passion that goes, which is usually synonymous with a Dan Quinn coach defense. I want to see that tonight. I don't feel like I've seen that enough. I've seen flashes of that. I don't think I've seen that nearly enough. And we've talked about they're not playing with the type of speed and aggression that comes with the Dan Quinn defense. And maybe that comes overtime. Maybe that's an overtime thing that happens. Well, tonight is as good as any a time to start. No time like the present. They throw something out on the perimeter. I want to see 5 dudes hauling ass to that football. And if that thing somehow comes out, we should be 3-4 deep landing on that bitch. If a ball tips in the air, there should be 2 or 3 defenders fighting over who's going to pull that interception in. We need to be Johnny on the spot. The only way you do that is if you hustling to the football and you getting as many hats as you can to the football. Tonight's one of those nights. Let's get to the final outcome of this game. And I think this is going to be a lot like the Bucs game from week 1. I don't think it's going to look like the Bucks game. So you need to understand what I'm saying here. I don't think it's going to look like the Bucks game from week 1. I think it's going to feel like the Bucks game from week 1. Here's what I mean by that. Look wise, right? From an aesthetics standpoint, there were coverage busts. There were, untimely defensive penalties. We didn't tackle at all in that week 1 game. I don't think you're going to see the coverage busts in this game. I don't think you're going to see the poor tackling in this game. I don't think you're going to see the untimely penalties that result in a first down on third down. I don't think you're going to see those types of things rear its ugly head in this game. What I mean, right, is that we never felt like we were going to win the Bucks game. At least to me, it didn't. I never felt like we were going to win that game. As a matter of fact, I don't think we ever led in that game. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that the Bucks were up 13-0 before we scored our first points in that game, the touchdown. So I don't think we ever really felt like we were going to win that game. We were never like right there. We were within striking distance to making it competitive, but we were never within striking distance to win. That's what I mean by that's what it's going to feel like. I don't think we're going to get embarrassed tonight, but I don't ever think the Bengals are going to feel like they're in danger of losing a football game either. And remember how that Bucks game got away from us? We were within 9, and it kind of got away from us there at the end, and then it looked like a blowout, right? It was 37-14 at one point before we scored that garbage time touchdown. It's gonna feel like that. We'll be close in this game, close enough to where the Bengals aren't going to be able to like sit Joe Burrow out of the game or anything like that, but they'll bust it open late. Pause. And it'll be a valiant effort by the good guys, but it won't be enough. And I won't be ashamed. I won't be ashamed. 34-20. That's what I see happening here. The defense just isn't good. I mean, who are we kidding? It'd be a great night for them to stand up and say, hey, we are who you thought we were going to be at the beginning of the season. We're in there. It's going to take a while. We're digging deep. We're in there somewhere. This would be a great time for them to show that. Not against this group, though. I just don't see it happening. Not against T. Higgins, not against Joe Burrow, not against Jamar Chase, not against Mike Gesicki. I just see they just have too much. Trent Irwin, Yoshi Vash, somebody, we're going to got tonight. And you'll probably be screaming about the secondary, probably the lack of pass rush. All of that shit will come into focus. And that'll be one of the talking points after this game, I believe. I hope I'm wrong. And we've gone into environments like this before and come out victorious. 2022 was the last time we've done something like that on a stage like this. But this doesn't feel like that. That team that went into Philadelphia were winners of 3 out of their last 4 games. And after that Eagles game, it was 4 out of their last 5. So that team was playing with a little bit of confidence, and we were feeling ourselves. That's not the feel I get from this group yet. It's an early game in the season. They're still trying to figure out stuff. We're still moving around, mixing and matching parts. You know what I am excited about is Johnny Newton getting into the mix tonight. Because I think he could be an impact player, along with Allen and Payne, give you another guy that you could put out there and really maybe affect the game. But we'll see what happens. Let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say before we get out of here on this game. So Rosario Satara Pileski, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, LT, can we get shirts or hoodies with your Command Post logo? the logo on the top front of the shirt so we can see the logo while wearing the shirt. Also got a mic, working on my first promo video for my work. I'm looking forward to that, man. When that's done, send me the link. I can't wait to check it out, see what it looks like, man. As far as the hoodies are concerned, I think I have something like that. I'm not sure if I do or not. But I mean, that definitely can be done for sure, without question. I definitely can make that happen. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Fat American writes, Lou, why the F did the Browns and Saints choke? Yeah, I mean, look, one, we can't worry about what other teams are doing. We got to worry about ourselves. That's the biggest thing I could tell you, Fat American. But there were various reasons as to why those teams didn't get it done. The Browns just stink. They're not a good football team at all. And the Saints are who we thought they were coming into the season. They had a great start to the season. The Cowboys are what we thought they were defensively. The Eagles, I think, are better. I said this already. I think the Eagles are the best team in the division defensively. They still stink on defense, if you ask me. But the Saints, I didn't like their game plan. I don't like how they went about their business in that game. And me and my dad were watching the game together, and we were really hypercritical of how the Saints went about business. They also lost a couple of offensive linemen throughout the game, which did not help, especially on the interior, which is where a lot of the pressure came from on Derek Carr. But that's nor here nor there. They had their opportunities to get it done, just like the Eagles had an opportunity to really take it to them in that game, and neither team took advantage. But again, that's not our issue. We need to worry about ourselves. We can't worry about what other teams are doing. If we take care of our own business, everything will take care of itself, right? I knew when the Saints didn't get their 2-point conversion, it was over. Baltimore almost threw it away too. What the F? Yeah, I thought they were going to mess around and lose the game. I had told my dad before the game started that Dallas was going to win that game because the other two teams in the division had already won. So I thought that, oh, well, shit, it's going to be a role reversal of last week where Washington was the only team to win in the division. Now they're going to be the only team that loses. But, excuse me, looks like we have company. And Dallas will join the rest of the division at 1 or the Commanders will probably join the rest of the division at 1 and 2, more likely than not after this game. But it was a fun day of football. I enjoyed it. It would have been even better had the Saints done what they were supposed to do and the Browns had done what they were supposed to do, but they didn't, right? But we still got a chance to do what we need to do, right? That's all you can ask for. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, to be fair, we don't know which team is what yet. Facts. Saints choke after having an explosive offense. Cowboys 1 and 2 after a hot start. I wouldn't call their start hot. They had one game. All right. Their defense isn't very good. And their defense looked good against the worst offense, arguably the worst offense in football. So obviously we've seen their offense or their defense against two good offenses here, and they weren't up to par. Right. Giants looked okay against the Browns. The Giants look good. Give them credit. They look good in that game. They're still the Giants, right? They're not a good team. And so they gave the Browns every opportunity to win that game. And the Browns just aren't capable, right? Baltimore almost went 0-3, being hopeful. Almost doesn't count. All right. The Rams almost went 0-3. They didn't. You know, the good teams in the league, the well-coached teams, the teams that find ways, they're not going to allow themselves to go 0-3. They're not going to allow it. I'll be shocked if we beat the Bengals. Shocked, utterly shocked. Like jaw drop, hit the floor, shocked. Because not just because I don't see us being capable of doing that. That's not the only reason, because I don't see us being capable of going on the road and winning in that environment. But above that, what I really don't see is the Bengals allowing themselves to go to 0-3. That's what I don't see happening. That's above all else what I don't see happening is them, a veteran team, going out there and pissing away another opportunity against a team that much wasn't expected from this season. They already did that once at home against New England. I can't see them doing that again for the second time in 3 weeks against us. Knowing it's one thing when you're 0-0 and you do that and you come out flat and the other team has a chip on their shoulder and they get it done. That's one thing. Now you're 0-2 and you realize what's at stake. That them coming out flat and with a lethargic approach, and that's not happening in this game. That's not happening in this game. Steven Kinsler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Steven writes, really think we're going to win this game. Don't know why. Just have a feeling. Not watching the game. Have to be up at 3 a.m., but go and get it. Well, bless your heart, Steven. I don't think we're going to get embarrassed. So it won't be one of those games that you don't even want to rewatch. But you're not going to wake up with a 3 a.m. surprise. You're not going to wake up and look at your phone. Surprise! The Commanders upset the Cincinnati Bengals. You're not going to get one of those. And I don't even know if the score will indicate the type of ball game it was, right? You might wake up and see your phone and see the score that I have or something close to it and think, oh, man, we got beat up. And you're like, nah, not really. Score could have been 27-20, and the Bengals went on a drive and put us away with a drive late in the game, right? And we were right there. And that one stop that I said we needed on a 3rd and long was right there, and we didn't get it, right? So who knows what it's going to look like. But I don't have that feeling that you have, Steven. I hope your feeling is better than mine. I could see this thing getting out of hand. I really could. If we come out with the same defensive approach and, for the first time this season, the offense isn't converting on 3rd downs, isn't, keeping drives alive, isn't sustaining offense, and we're not winning time of possession, this shit could get ugly quick. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. That's more realistic to me than us winning the game, is us getting our asses kicked in this game. That's more realistic than, oh shit, we beat the Bengals. I wouldn't be shocked if I don't expect us to get our teeth kicked in. I don't. Because I keep telling you, it feels different because it is different. I can't tell you that and then preach something else. The last group, it would probably be at the top of the pile, us getting our teeth kicked in an environment like this. Not so much here with this group. But we'll see. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy, C-Mac, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Chris, writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? Hope all is well with you and the family. Likewise. Happy game day. Indeed. It's fun. It's Monday. It's fun, right? Only time it's not fun is when you finally get in front of your television, the game starts, and then it goes sideways. And you're like, I waited all the way till Monday for this shit? But this feels good. We are 8-0 in the last 10 years rushing for 200 yards or more. Simple plan on offense. Feed Terry early and establish Robertson Jr., Eckler. Thoughts? That sounds great in theory. You don't think they're going to come into the game saying, well, not going to let 17 get off. And yeah, we've struggled to stop the run, and that's what they do best right now. You don't think they're going to key in on that? It's one thing to key in on. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to stop it. They may physically be incapable of stopping the run right now. That might not be who they are. And especially with their defensive tackle, that doesn't make it any better for them. But Cliff has already told us that they're going to try to get Terry the ball in this game. So I'd be shocked if Terry doesn't have 70 or 80 yards receiving, bare minimum, in this game. Now, let's just put the number at 70 yards. I'd be shocked if he doesn't have at least 70 yards in this game. Because I feel like they're going to, and I hope they don't try to force him the football at the expense of staying on schedule and being, what they've been, which is pretty balanced offensively. He does need more opportunities, and I do think he's going to get that in this game because Cliff is fully aware of the fact that they haven't gotten him the football in these first 2 games. Other guys are going to have to step up, whether it's a Luke McCaffrey or a De'Ami Brown or Olamide Zaccheaus at the receiver position to take some pressure off of Terry. But as of right now, it's just easy to double Terry because there's nobody else, right? Running for 200 yards sounds good. And with Jaden, it's going to become a lot easier to do because if you can combine Eck and B-Rob for 150 yards between the two of them, say, B-Rob has 95 yards and Eck has, 55 yards rushing. That's 150 right there. And then Jaden, more likely than not, is going to be hovering around 50 yards almost every week by himself. So if you're you're doing that, you're going to have a shot at 200 yards rushing. But again, it's easier said than done. Like, that's not what B-Rob has been in his career. That was a career high last week of 133 yards, and it took a 32-yarder and a 40-yarder to get him 133 yards. So it's not like this is what he does every week. So we're going to see if we can keep up. I think we're going to be a top 7 rush offense this season. I've said that, and I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if we're top 5 this season. So I could see that transpiring. But we're going to have to work for it. They're not going to give it to us. You run the ball that way. The blueprint has been set for what we need to do to beat Cincinnati. Run the football, win time of possession, keep Cincinnati's offense off the field so they can't get into a rhythm. It's what the Patriots did in week 1. They had 2 turnovers. I'm just asking for 1. Right? Don't turn it over yourself. Take care of the football. Take care of special teams. Right? And you'll have a shot. But again, that's easier said than done. And they're at full strength offensively now for the first time this season. It's not like the offense that the Patriots saw in week 1 that was T. Higginless, that Jamar Chase was deciding whether he wanted to play or not. I don't know. I might play this week. He was still doing that offseason bullshit. Now the season has begun. They're 0-2, and they know what's at stake. It's a different level of focus coming into this game than the week 1 contest versus New England. You have to establish Eck and B-Rob. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Right now, they're the bread and butter. The most consistent thing we have offensively right now are those 2. You continue to feed them and figure out ways to get other players involved. Ertz, Noah Brown, Terry McLaurin. Like, Noah, it'd be nice if Noah, continues his ascension. He was excellent last week. And as of right now, he's a Cincinnati Bengals killer after what he did to them last year. I'd love for him to reenact that again in this game. That'd be fun to watch. I agree. They're going to get Terry the ball early and often, I think. But again, we'll see. Video channel, been a member for 14 months. Who writes, in Cincy, like I said, Lou, a decent number of our fans out here, too. Let's effing go. I'm shocked. I didn't think we would have a contingency there, let alone a sizable one. That's encouraging. But you know what I've found over the years is that we travel deep. We do a really good job of infiltrating other teams' stadiums when we go on the road. We got fans everywhere. You know, that's encouraging. You know what you got to do, video channel. You know what you got to do. Video channel, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, in Cincy, like I said, Lou, let's effing go. You know what you got to do. This is a top secret mission. All right. You know what you got to do. Sean Moorer, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, bro, for all these, what they need to do is crazy because we're just not that good yet. We're not. That doesn't mean we can't compete at a high level. You don't have to be better than the team that you're playing to beat them or to be in the ball game. You think the Vegas Raiders are on the same playing field with the Baltimore Ravens in terms of talent? Come on, man. Hell no. They're not. Those teams aren't even. I watched the Denver Broncos go to Tampa Bay. The Broncos they're not talentless. They got some stuff. We played that same Tampa Bay Buccaneers team and we got run over. They went in there, hadn't won a game all season long. And I keep telling you that 0-2 going to 0-3 is a different level of desperation. Denver went in there and stomped a mud hole in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. It's a different level of desperation when you 0-2 trying to avoid 0-3. 0-2 already feels like somewhat of a death sentence. You go to 0-3 and you can start talking about the draft. That's the level of desperation you're going to get from Cincinnati tonight. And I don't think we're ready to match that intensity from what I've seen yet, at least. This team doesn't strike me as a team that's going to go in and match that level of intensity, which is why I'm afraid that a blowout could happen. If we don't match that intensity and they come out fighting for their lives, which is what I expect them to do, it can get ugly fast. But if we are able to weather that storm early, we'll be right in that game. We'll be right in that game. What they want us to do is lay down. They want to smack us in the mouth early, and they want us to cower and bitch up. And if we do that, they're going to run all over us. Not figuratively, literally, they're going to trample us in this game. If we stand tall, if we don't flinch, and we don't back down, when they throw that first blow, and we show them we're there and we're ready to fight, they'll be in a dogfight at that point, and they won't, because they're not these, they're not a ridiculous bully unless you allow them to be. You allow them to be, and it can get ugly. Raw Rebel, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Raw Rebel writes, I'm impressed with Jaden Daniels' command of the offense and avoiding delay of games, unlike the last regime who got them constantly. I've been impressed with the growth and the maturation we've seen from him. We went from wasting timeouts in week 1 to no such thing in week 2, which is a good thing, and you want to continue to see that growth. Getting to the line, I like the tempo. That's something that we've done this season, weeks 1 and 2, play with tempo. I think that's something that needs to continue. And I like everything about the offense right now. The college offense, as Cam Taylor-Britt called it with the Bengals. I like the college offense that Cliff Kingsbury is running right now. Suits us well. Doug H, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Doug writes, for this game, what is one aspect of the defense that you desperately want to be improved? I think from what we've seen so far, this is what our defense is for the rest of the season. Offense as well, ? No, I don't think this is the final product for the defense. I do think we have limitations that are going to exist throughout the entire season into next year until you are able to address it via the draft and free agency, et cetera, et cetera. But no, I don't think this is a finished product either way, offensively or defensively. The offense is going to continue to get better. They're just scratching the surface. We haven't even gotten Terry to football yet. Noah Brown just got here. We still have more things that we can explore offensively. Defensively, it may be closer to who we are. I'm hoping that's not the case. In my mind's eye, we will stop the run better. We will tackle better. We will be more aggressive moving forward as we continue to get more and more comfortable in what is being asked of the defense and what's being called and how, we're supposed to play. When guys are comfortable with the calls and aren't thinking as much, but just playing, I think you're going to see a defense that plays faster, that is able to create more opportunities. We're not there yet, and you got to be comfortable in the system to be able to play fast. So I think we'll get there eventually. But the one thing that I need to see from the defense right now is better tackling. Above all else, I want to see them play faster. Because playing faster, I think, is going to produce more opportunities for us to make plays. And whether it's, a takeaway or, preventing a big play from happening, just playing faster. We're not playing as fast as I think we can play. So play faster, tackling, those are two things that I think they can control. Some of the things are out of their hands. We're just not as talented on the back end, especially at the cornerback position. It is what it is. Like there's limitations there, but we can control our effort. We can control how fast we play. We can control how we tackle. These are things that they can't control. And I want to see a guy like Jeremy Chin play better, play faster, play more physical. Look like you give a shit. Because at times it feels like Jeremy Chin's just kind of like, whatever. I didn't make the play, whatever. All right, like I want to see guys play with a hunger and a zest to want to go get the football. Fresh Montana, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Fresh Montana writes, Lou, we beating Cincinnati tonight. I said it against Pitt a few years ago and Philly a few years ago. Okay, if you say it doesn't feel like that type of party. But I didn't expect to beat no. I didn't expect to beat Philly, but I told y'all I woke up feeling dangerous that day. And I remember saying that against Pittsburgh. Against Philly, I thought we were going to lose, but I told LB, don't let me catch y'all undefeated outside. I told him that. Even when I probably didn't even believe it. There's no such threats here, right? There's no, I woke up feeling dangerous today. I just woke up feeling like we weren't going to get embarrassed today. But again, I hope you're right and I'm wrong. I want you to be right. I want to say that I want you to be able to say, I told you so, Louie T, after this game. I'm not going, if the game goes the way that I think it's going to, I'm not going to wag my finger and tell you I told you so. I'm just going to say, this is what I expected. There won't be many games that I'm going to feel like this either, by the way. There won't be many games this season where I feel like, hey, I told y'all when the schedule first came out, there weren't many games on the schedule that I felt like were kamikaze missions. I don't even think this is a kamikaze mission. This doesn't feel like Buffalo back in 2021, where you're like, bro, we are going to go to Buffalo and get our asses kicked. And we did, right? This doesn't feel like that, but it could turn into that. This is the closest game on the schedule to that. But it doesn't have to be that. Right? It doesn't have to be a kamikaze mission. Ethan Dykes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, writes, think Cliff Kingsbury opens up the playbook tonight. F it. Nah, I don't think he goes F it. But does he open up? I think as the weeks progress and they get more and more comfortable with what they're executing, he's going to open up the playbook more and more, right? More deep shots, more opportunities for explosive plays down the field. But you got to continue to execute the things that you do well. And as you are able to build off of that, now you can start to go and take shots down the field. Now you loosen up the defense because they got to respect the run game. Now they got to add that extra defender in the box. Or now they got to come down and take this away, and now you get that one-on-one look down the field and you can take it, right? We'll see what happens. But we're getting closer to that point where we're going to start opening up stuff, I think. R-Nice 2020. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. R-Nice 2020 writes, thought I was watching ESPN 30 for 30, end of Washington franchise, LOL, the way you started. The D will force 2 turnovers, run game controls clock, 27-20, baby. That'll be nice. Don't see it happening, but it would be nice. And Cincinnati has their own faults. They're not a perfect team. That's why they're 0-2, by any stretch of the imagination. But I continue to say this. They've been here before. They know how to navigate 0-2. They're comfortable in this space. And they're healthy for the first time this season. So I expect them to show up and show out. And it's our job to limit them in whatever way we can, whether the offense takes the onus of saying, all right, we know what y'all trying to do tonight, and we're going to make y'all sit on the sideline and wait by controlling time of possession. Or the defense actually says, all right, we'll hold up our end of the bargain. We'll get stops. Whatever that looks like, that's what's going to be required if this team's going to be competitive tonight. And I can't assure you that they're going to be competitive. I feel confident that they will be, but I'm not going to tell you, hey, we are going to be in this ball game. I'm not saying that because I don't know that right now. I don't have a good enough feel for this team yet to be able to say that. I feel confident enough to say that I think we're going to be in this game. But I can't assure you, I can't guarantee you that. I don't have a good enough pulse. In about 3 or 4 weeks, I'll be able to tell you what this team is and tell you, hey, I know what kind of team's going to show up here. I hope you're right. Force 2 turnovers, control the clock, run the football, Score touchdowns. You got to score touchdowns to score 27 points. Defense holding them to 20? That's a tough, tall, order. Look, they're still going to get 9 or 10 possessions, no matter what we do, no matter how we control time possession. They're still going to get 9 possessions in this game, bare minimum. Okay? 8 or 9 possessions in this game. They're going to have a chance to score. And the way our defense has performed this year, my guess is they'll be able to score more than just 3 or 4 of those possessions, right? Anyway, we'll see. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. My guy, C-Mac. Thank you for doubling up. Chris writes, hey, Lou, 2 questions. How confident are you that this team can win 2 of the next 3 games, especially with the way the Browns are playing? And 2, also with Philly's schedule, do you think the division winner could finish at 9-8 or not, and why? I don't think this is a 9-win division. I've said this before. I think this division is won at 10 or 11. Nobody's winning 12 games in this division. It's just not a good enough division to do that this year. But the Eagles could get to 11 for sure, right? I already told you, I don't see Dallas winning more than 9 games this year. They get to 10 with their schedule. I don't know if you've seen their schedule. They get to 10 wins. It's a hell of a coaching job by Mike McCarthy because they're not a 10-win team. They're not set up to win 10 games. They can't stop the run. They can't run the football. Dak's inconsistent. They don't have any weapons to throw the football to outside of CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. They're limited. The Cowboys are. They reversed in terms of their progression. They went all in the wrong direction. So they're a 9-win team max. They could easily be an 8-9 team this year. But the Eagles are the class of this division, and they could win 11 games, but they win no less than 10 in my mind's eye. And I don't see us getting to 10 wins. So no, I don't see the division winner finishing at 9-8. But with their schedule, the Eagles their schedule isn't as tough as Dallas's schedule, but I can see them dropping some games on the schedule, especially with some of the things that they do from a coaching standpoint. But they also are playing without A.J. Brown. And I know Smitty just went down, and we'll see how long he's out with that concussion. But at the end of the day, the Eagles will be fine, I think. Defensively, they're not very good, but I still think they can score on the offensive side of football. So can we win 2 of the next 3 games? Yeah, I do think we can. Like, I don't think we're going to beat Arizona, but I watched Arizona last week. We're not the Lions on defense, so I'm not going to fool myself into thinking, hey, we could do that. We're not the Lions. But the Cardinals are still the Cardinals, right? So we could definitely beat them. I know we can beat the Browns, but we got to get pressure on Deshaun Watson. And we haven't shown the ability to get pressure. So I can't assure you that we're going to be able to do that either. But, we got 2 weeks before we see the Browns. I don't want to jump ahead of myself and overlook anybody. We're not good enough to do that. Take them one at a time, the way they show up on the schedule. Bengals are up tonight. We'll take a look at this game and see what we did well, what we didn't do well, try to improve on those things. Short turnaround, quick turnaround, heading to Arizona. Try to find a way to win one of these. You got to get one of these 2 on the road. You got to find a way. And more likely than not, it'll be the latter of those 2 games. And if you can do that, then you'll give yourself a chance to go back home, having not been home in a couple of weeks, and see if you can't take care of a Browns team that is banged up. They had some more injuries that they suffered yesterday, and they're just not very good, especially on offense. They're not a very good team on offense. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Eric writes, Monday night special, same as the Eagles on Monday night a few years ago. B-Rob and Eckler go off. Time of possession. Terry for a deep touchdown. Let's speak it into reality. Terry's due for a big ball, right? Terry's due for a big ball. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be nice? But I got to see it to believe it, right? We've only taken, one deep? Was that the only deep shot we've taken the entire season? I don't think Jaden's thrown another deep ball to anybody this season. He might have thrown something out of bounds, not even close, but actually trying to hit somebody 40 yards down the field. I think that is the only time we've taken a shot down the field. At some point, you got to stretch the field vertically in order to hit a deep shot like that. Maybe tonight's the night. But we can run the football with B-Rob and Eck. We can do that. And Jaden, don't forget about him. His legs are critical to the run game as well. We can run the football. I'm not doubting that. The question is, what do we do off of that run? Because in order to score points in this league, you got to be able to throw it. Jaden did a really good job of doing that last week. Let's see if he can do it again. Much tougher test this week than that Giants defense we saw last week. This Bengals defense is damn good, right? They're a good unit. Confused the hell out of Mahomes last week, picked him off twice. It's a good defense. So we better come ready to, inflict punishment on them, run the football, establish that, and then see what we can get off of that. A lot of y'all sound like y'all trying to convince yourselves of a win tonight. Y'all don't sound confident, but you sound like, hey, why not us? And I've said that. Why not us? Why not us? And I've given you reasons why not us. The Bengals are 0-2. They're not going to fall to 0-3. They're better than us. And they're at home, and they look to prove it and try to get their season on track. It'll be one of the biggest upsets in recent memory if we go into Cincinnati and win. Because of everything that is surrounding this game from a Cincinnati Bengals standpoint. And the deficiencies, let's not act like we haven't watched this defense the first 2 weeks. Do you really think that the defense we've watched the first 2 weeks is capable of slowing down Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Mike Gesicki? Daniel Jones had a solid performance against us last week. Baker Mayfield looked like Tom Brady in week 1. Does that translate into, we're going to hold the Bengals to 20 points tonight? And Joe Burrow to 4 of 10 on third downs. Does that look like what we're about to do? Because it doesn't feel, based off of what we've seen doesn't feel like we're going to do that tonight. But you never know, right? That's why they play the game. Jaquan Cooper, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jaquan writes, pass rusher or cornerback, which is more important? I'm a pass rusher guy. Because to me, you affect the game up front. And pass rushers, the good ones, don't just affect the pass. I watched Max Crosby and TJ Watt wreck 2 different games where they only had probably 1 sack. Maybe Crosby might have had 2 sacks in that game, but Crosby had felt like 5 tackles for loss in that game. Watt had 3-4 tackles for loss. He was blowing up plays, causing holding penalties, not just in the pass game, in the run game. An elite pass rusher changes everything. Yes, cornerbacks are awesome. And I know analytics people will tell you it's the corner. Because you could take a pass rusher out of the game, quick pass game, double teams, et cetera, chips, sliding the line and protection towards that guy. You could take an elite pass rusher out of the game. You can't take an elite corner because an elite corner can erase your best receiver no matter where you put him on the field. And that's what analytics will say. Give me the corner over the edge rusher. I'm old school. Give me the pass rusher. That guy can affect the game on multiple plays, not just pass plays. An elite corner isn't really going to affect the game unless they're throwing the ball his way. He could take a guy away and erase a good receiver. And that helps. Most certainly helps. Allows you to do a lot on defense when you can say, hey, I got a guy that I don't need to help, and I can leave over there one-on-one. Now I can roll coverage to the other side of the field. I don't need to keep 2 deep safeties because I'm not even worried about that guy. That allows you to do a lot defensively if you got one guy that can lock it down. But having an elite rusher also does a lot for your defense. Also does a hell of a lot for your defense. Give me the pass rusher, but you can't go wrong with either one, to be honest with you. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My God, Fat American, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, if the Commanders win, is this a conversation changer? Yes. Yes, it is. because this is not expected. When the schedule came out, you didn't count this as a win. Now, we could have ended up at 2-1 because I thought we were going to beat Tampa and I thought we were going to beat the Giants. But then I had us losing to Cincinnati. So we were still 2-1, but we would have gotten there in a different manner. Beating Cincinnati in Cincinnati when the Bengals have everything to lose in this game. Everything's on the line for them. There's a level of desperation that comes with 0-2, staring 0-3 in the face. And if we're still able to go in there in that environment on a Monday night into the jungle, with them being fully healthy on offense for the first time this year, if we're able to go in there and win, and I don't give a shit what it looks like, whether it's 38-36 and our defense couldn't get a stop to save their lives, but we outscored them like the Texans had to do last year. I don't give a shit what it looks like. If we somehow have one more point than them after this game is over, you damn right it's a conversation changer. Without question. Let's go win this damn division. I'm going to start talking reckless. Hell yeah, it's a conversation changer. Because I haven't seen anybody this season in the NFC or in our division that I'm like, hey, man, I don't know how the hell we're going to beat them. They're tough. I haven't seen one team. Now, I've seen, Minnesota play really well. I've seen Green Bay playing really good football. Detroit's still a good football team, right? And you see some of these teams that have started off well, but you beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati. Yeah, it's a conversation changer. What would you as a fan expect? Decisions, trades, etc. after a win, if anything? You're not making any moves this early after a win there, but what it does is I do think it changes your expectations on what this team could be this season. You go in an environment like that and you come away with a win on a stage like this. Now, the confidence of this team goes from here to here. Now, you expect to go to Arizona. I don't expect us to go to Arizona and win next week. It's very possible. That's not something that I'm counting on. You beat Cincinnati, and I expect a win, not only against Arizona next week, I expect us to beat Cleveland the week after that as well. Now, I'm expecting things. It changes a lot. Probably for the sanctity of this fan base and keeping the expectations where they need to be, a win is probably not in the best interest of this group, okay? Because it changes. The people that were talking crazy about 10, 11 wins before this, they're going to start talking that shit again. And I won't be in a position to stop them at that point if we beat Cincinnati, right? I won't be in a position to say, all right, man, we got lucky tonight. You don't get lucky against teams like Cincinnati. You got to go in there and beat them. Yeah, that changes a lot. It to me would be, even though I think this group can handle it, unlike the last group who couldn't, it would be the equivalent of Rivera winning the division in his first year. It was a gift and a curse. It was more of a curse than it was a gift. A gift because it got the players to believe, hey, this is what is capable if we lock in and if we buy into what they're selling. Now, it was a 7-9 season. So it's not like you went out there and you were dominant, but you still were good enough to win the division and play a playoff game. It was a curse, and it was more of a curse because it heightened the expectations and it forced them, unnecessarily, I may add, to try and fast track this team, and they weren't ready from a roster standpoint. We were still garbage from a roster standpoint, but they thought we were close. Now let's go try to get Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and end up with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let's go. And we weren't ready. And winning this game might send the fan base into a frenzy. I'm ready for the challenge. I'm not turning that shit down. If we could somehow beat Cincinnati tonight, it changed a lot of the way I view things. I'm still going to enjoy the season. I'm not going to put a ton of expectations on them, but I'd be lying to you. I'm human. I'd be lying to you if I told you I'm not going to expect to beat this team and that team and that team and that team. If we can beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati, oh shit. Well, then why can't we beat Arizona in Arizona? Why can't we beat Cleveland at home? Why can't we beat Carolina at home? Why can't we beat the Bears at home? Like, it changes the way you view everything. Why can't we go to Philadelphia and beat the Eagles? I think we can do that anyway. Can't we go in Dallas and I think we can do that anyway. But now I'm like almost expect to go beat them bastards. They ain't good. We beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati. They ain't shit. They don't have Jamar Chase. They don't have T. Higgins. Go beat their ass. I don't think they would start thinking about trade deadline and all that stuff until they get closer to that point of the season, right? If we get to late October and we're a 6-3 team, we get to late October and we're a 5-2 team, 6-2 team, yeah, they might be like, you know what? Shit, why not? You know, why not? I think it's more likely the other way around, though. You get to the deadline and they start offload like they did last year, offloading some shit to get that draft capital to help them get some more of the players that they think are going to fit what it is they want to do here. I think you're more likely to see that than you are us going and being aggressive at the trade deadline, trying to acquire players. But, you know, we'll see, right? We'll see. Fat American. Been a member for 28 months. Right? Just flexing on everyone. Y'all don't want it. What you talking about, Fats? Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, don't want to jinx nothing, man, but JD5 is going to make me get a JD5 jersey. Trying to be cool, especially after the 25 years of trauma. But, man, kids, he's special. Right? He's got a chance to be really good in this league. You're not jinxing anything. Again, I'm removing the PTSD from myself. I can't speak for anybody else out there. I'm removing that. Like, I'm not afraid anymore. I said last week, we're going to beat the Giants because we're better than the Giants, and we needed to go out and prove it. If I say it feels different because it is different, then y'all need to prove that it's different. Go beat the Giants. And they did. Wasn't the way we drew it up. I don't give a shit how it looks. Just get it done. Nobody apologizes for winning in this league. It's hard to win in this league. I don't give a shit what it looks like. Just get it done. JD is going to be really good. JD5 is going to be good. I truly believe that. He might end up being the best of this draft class. And I like the way we're developing him. I'm watching Caleb Williams, and they are getting the dog shit beat out of that kid. Man, they're making him work for his #1 overall pick status. That's for sure. They're asking him to do a lot. And you can tell it looks like the weight of the world is on his shoulders right now. Jaden is out smiling, carefree, having fun. That's what we want. They've handled him really well. I've been impressed with how they've handled Jaden. And, you know, Cam Taylor-Britt can call the offense a college offense, and they're not asking him to do much. Good. I don't want us to put too much on his plate. That ain't what I'm asking my quarterback. Eventually, we'll turn him loose. But we don't need to do that right now. We need to ease that young man in, keep him confident, keep him upright, keep him playing good football. And I think this guy's got a chance to be really good. And once again, we haven't seen a franchise quarterback here since Joe Theismann. The closest we've seen was Kirk Cousins. We got that guy. I'm convinced. Bleach Sprayer. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Bleach Sprayer writes, JD5 will show why he's rookie of the year as of week 3. I agree. I think he's going to play well tonight. I don't think this environment is going to rattle him. He's played in some big stadiums in the SEC. I don't think this is going to rattle his cage at all. I think he's going to go out there and have fun tonight. Will it be enough? Probably not. But it won't be his fault. And I think you'll see a lot of people watching this game walk away impressed. Like, hey, y'all got yourselves one. Right? Y'all got yourselves one. I think that's what you'll hear from Aikman and Buck tonight. Like, man, this kid's impressive. We had a chance to sit down and talk to him this week. And Aikman will be like, I sat down with this kid. And I'll tell you what, man, This is an impressive kid. And watching what he's done tonight, man, I think they may have found themselves a quarterback. I expect to hear that shit tonight at some point. Because we know when they sit down with him, they have no choice but to be impressed. We know that. Now it's about, does it match up with what he's doing on the field? And I think you're going to see that tonight. A1 the Great. Been a member for 30 months. What's good, Lou? What's good with you, A1 the Great? Y'all hit the like button. You heard the man. Public service announcement. Hit the like button. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so. Mob, stand up. You know what it is. We in the building. Hashtag mob, stand up. Real question. What's the path to success tonight? Control time of possession. Keep Cincinnati's offense off the field. Don't turn the ball over. If you can create a turnover or two, great. That's not a necessity as much as us not turning it over is a necessity. Don't give up explosive plays. Create some of your own and score touchdowns. Get in the red zone, score touchdowns. Don't settle for field goals. But if you have to settle for a field goal, make it. Make it. No crazy plays. Don't get a punt blocked. Don't give up a big punt or kickoff return. No bullshit like that could swing the favor of the game in the favor of the Cincinnati Bengals that we're not talking about. Special teams, other than doing what you're supposed to do, shouldn't be a factor in this game. It'd be nice if we broke one, right? You know, speaking of special teams, it'd be nice to do something on special teams in a positive manner that impacts the game. But I've gotten so used to this team doing nothing on special teams other than what they're supposed to do that I don't even look at special teams as a deciding factor anymore. Just don't lose the game on special teams. Don't miss kicks like we did against Tampa, right? You don't have a penalty on a kickoff like we did against the Giants that negates a touchdown. Like, just don't do anything stupid. Like, I've watched a lot of games in the beginning of this season. A lot of punts are getting blocked. Okay? A lot of punts are getting blocked. Don't have a punt get blocked or some stupid shit like that, right? That's the path to success. Logan Lodo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Logan Lodo writes, I'm not expecting to win, but I am expecting to at least be competitive. As am I. As am I. FYI, when's your next grocery store meetup? LOL. I don't know, man. That just happened by happenstance. We just happened to run into each other. But you know, you never know when you're gonna catch me in Wegmans, man. But it was cool running into you. It was definitely cool running into you. Zaydu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Zaydu writes, double up, thank you for doubling up, who writes, if the Panthers and Giants won this week, why not us too? Why not? Right? Broncos won, right? Again, different set of circumstances. That would have been the equivalent of Dallas winning against the 0-2 Ravens. Like, the Ravens had too much at stake. They were too desperate. And even though Dallas rallied late and made that shit way more interesting than it needed to be, when the game was on the line, Lamar said, oh, hell no, not on my watch. We winning this goddamn game. And but you know, if you watch that game, the Cowboys were getting dominated thoroughly, and the Ravens took their foot off the gas pedal. The why not us stems from Cincinnati being better than us, Cincinnati being a perennial playoff participant when Joe Burrow is healthy, Cincinnati being 0-2, having been in this spot multiple times and being comfortable being 0-2 and knowing how to dig themselves out of an 0-2 hole, and knowing that 0-3, there's no coming back from that. The Steelers are 3-0 in their division right now. There's no coming back from 0-3. You're dead. Dead, I tell you. And they know that. But, like you said, why not us, right? This is not one of those times where I would use that. Why not us? This ain't one of those times. But, hey, if you want to do that, go right ahead, knock yourself out. I'm not going to stop you. Okay? I'm not going to stop you. And again, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. C-Trill, been a member for 10 months. C-Trill writes, yo, Lou, I'm in heavy on the talking reckless if we win. You already know what it is for me. Like, we were 1-1 and tied for the lead in the division, and I started talking. I wasn't reckless, but I just started sprinkling in a little shit talk, just a little bit. We beat Cincinnati. It'll be the best win anybody's gotten outside of the Eagles. You got to respect going to New Orleans when they were, the highest scoring team in the league and doing what they did. After the New Orleans win by Philadelphia, it'll be the best win in the division thus far this season, if we are able to go in there and win. And I get it. They're 0-2. What makes Cincinnati? Trust me. Nobody in this division wants the 0-2 smoke with Cincinnati. We happen to draw that card. It is what it is. Cincinnati at 2-0 is a lot different than Cincinnati at 0-2. I would like our chances even more if they were 2-0, 1-1, than 0-2. Different level of desperation. You can try to downplay it all you want. Dan Quinn tried to downplay it during the course of the week. Ain't no downplaying a level of desperation that comes with being 0-2, knowing that 0-3 is not an option. Knowing that 0-3 is not an option. Yeah, might get a little reckless if we win this game. I ain't even gonna front. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, you think JD5 versus Caleb demeanor is just as based off of the person they are, or is it coaching? Both or both? Is AP over here outsmarting other teams? Bruh, trying to contain myself, but even the Dotson trade. Look, we got ourselves a hell of a general manager. I told y'all that when we got him, though. Chef P is about that life. I do think some of that is demeanor based. Like, Caleb is one of those guys that I think puts a lot of pressure on himself because this is who he's been his entire life. He's trained for this moment. Like Jaden, he had to work hard. Not that Caleb didn't work hard, but it was different. Caleb was seen as this, unbelievable talent that, was on a path and destined for stardom his entire life. And he had to work to live up to that. Whereas Jaden, was in relative obscurity at Arizona State. He transfers to LSU. There's not a lot of expectations when he goes there, not from the outside public, from LSU fans. Of course, Joe Burrow just did this coming from Ohio State, so we expect you to do the same. But from people like myself, I wasn't expecting a lot out of Jaden Daniels. I didn't think he was even good. I'm not going to even lie. I didn't even think he was all that good until his last year at LSU. He hadn't shown me enough. It's no different than Joe Burrow. I didn't think Joe Burrow was all that good in 2018 when he first transferred to LSU. That first year, he was average. Same thing I felt about Jaden Daniels. He was average. It was that 2019 season where I went, whoa, he just took a massive leap. Same thing that happened with Jaden Daniels. And I think Jaden Daniels can be that kind of guy here. But Jaden, he just has a different demeanor about himself. Caleb, I think there's a lot of pressure there being put on him. And whereas I love the way Washington has handled Jaden, right? They haven't put all that pressure. They didn't even name him the starter. The Bears drafted Caleb, and the next week he was already named the starter for week 1, right? They didn't do that here in Washington. He had to earn it. He knew he was going to be the starter, but he had to go out and earn it. He had to be one of the guys. Not that Caleb's not, but I think it is a demeanor thing, right? Jaden's out having fun, and Caleb's putting a lot of pressure on himself to go be perfect, and it's tough, right? It's tough. Playing the position is tough. As a rookie makes it even tougher. But yeah, Chef P is out here getting it in, man. I feel like we got one of the best GMs in football, but he's got to prove that over time. He's got 1 draft under his belt. I like the players that he selected. He's got 1 free agency class under his belt. I thought he did a really good job considering the circumstance. There were a couple of players that I think we could have maybe gone after aggressively that would have helped this team. I was a big Darnell Mooney fan. It would have been nice to add him in free agency or something like that. But getting Noah Brown takes the sting off of not doing as much at receiver. Now, when you look back, because I expected Jahan Dotson to be here. He's not, right? We don't miss him. And Noah Brown is going to be the reason that we're able to call it an upgrade, potentially. So we'll see. Bleach Sprayer, stand up. You're the newest member of the MOBB. Glad to have you on board, Mob. You know what to do. Show Bleach Sprayer some love. Welcome to the squad. Bleach Sprayer Glad to have you on board. You're just in time. Who knows what happens tonight, right? Win or lose, you know where you're going to find me. Daniel Jones Hater, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, that neighbors drop hurts a lot more this week, LOL. I bet it does. Because if you don't drop that, you win the game. You probably beat us last week, and you're now 2-1, and you're atop the division tied with the Eagles. Going into the Thursday night game against a Cowboys team who has dropped 2 in a row and looks ass on defense. Everything changes off of that one play potentially. So, yeah, it does hurt a little bit. And you know what I was thinking yesterday? Your name is so perfectly titled because Daniel Jones is doing that shit again. Isn't that cute? This is perfect. You know, you're not going to be bad enough to get a quarterback. He's going to play just well enough that you don't feel the need to do anything crazy. And you find yourself stuck in that conundrum once again. That's where it feels like it's heading right now. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Jeremiah, been a member for 26 months. What's up, Lou? What's up, Jeremiah? Something telling me it won't be like the Omen. I won't be dressed in black, all black like the Omen tonight. Hey, look, I hope you guys are right. I really, truly do. I don't get that vibe. All right. But a lot of y'all are feeling that way. It feels like you're trying to convince yourself of something that a lot of y'all don't even believe yourselves. But I can't tell y'all how y'all feel. If y'all, I'm just going off of what y'all are telling me. And a lot of y'all seem to think we're going to find a way to win this game. And I just don't see that happening. But I would love nothing more. It felt good to wear white last week. I told you, we hadn't won a game since week 9 of last season. So do you know how good it felt to wear all white? To wear white last, you know, like that's why I was so excited. Because I hadn't done it in such a long time. I'd like to do it again. I'd like to do it again. Dime 10-1. Thank you for the super chat, or thank you for becoming a member. Stand up. You are now the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show Dime 10-1 some love. Welcome Dime with open arms. Dime 10-1. Welcome to the squad. Glad to have you on board. Fat American. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American writes, is AP going to take us away from being the laughingstock? Of course. Like, that process started this offseason with how they went about business. Getting AP, getting DQ, assembling the coaching staff that they did, going out, getting some good football players. These veterans have been everything. The ones that they've acquired, Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz and Austin Eckler, they've been everything to this roster. So they've started that process of turning things around. It's games like this that continue to push that narrative of things are changing in Washington, right? You got to go out and prove it, though. We can only talk about it so much. The team that always gets fleeced, we done hearing about Howie Roseman and how great he is. Hope so. Hope AP becomes his kryptonite. Well, clearly these two like to do business together, and he's not going to allow Howie to get over on him, right? Feels like he took the ski mask from Howie and used his own gun against him in the Jahan Dotson trade. But we'll see, you know. Jahan might end up making a big play for the Eagles and make it all worth it for them this season. Who knows? You never know how these things go. And then you got to see what we do with the pick that we got from them. If we do nothing with it, then it's a wash, even if he doesn't do anything, right? Keese, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Keese writes, Blonde Burrow might be nasty work. We got a chance. Could be. How you know he ain't dye his hair back to his natural color? And he's back to business Burrow. After coming out with the bleach blonde and stinking it up for the first, well, not stinking it up, but being 0-2. How you know he ain't go back to regular Joe Burrow? I mean, he's probably gonna still have the blonde look, right? But you could be right. It could just not be their year. Highly unlikely, though, Keese. Highly unlikely, but it could be nasty work. And it could benefit us and work in our favor. Who knows? We will see. But anyway, I digress. that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T, here on Commanders Nightly News Live. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. I don't know how it's going to go. I told you this season, my approach is just go in with no expectations. Just let it happen and let it be what it's going to be. And that's kind of how I'm feeling tonight. Like, I don't have any expectations in this game other than I expect them to not embarrass me. That's it. And those are low expectations. Just don't embarrass me, right? Anything else I can stomach. You know, I can put a positive spin on it. Be that constant optimist that I love to be. You embarrass me, and it's hard for me to be optimistic after this one. Just do the one thing that I asked you to do. And anything extra on top of that, I'll be grateful for it. Just do the one thing I asked you to do, and that's not embarrass me. And I don't feel an embarrassment coming, but it could happen. It could happen if we don't take care of business. So, man, I'm excited about tonight. We don't get many more of these. We got the Thursday nighter against the Eagles, and we might get something flex late in the season, depending on how good we are and the teams we're playing, et cetera, et cetera. Like that Falcons game could get flex late in the season. If they're playing for something, we're playing for something. Who knows? But right now, we just got 2 primetimers. This is the first of 2, and this is exciting. Early in the season, we're coming off of a victory. We think we have the best rookie quarterback in this year's draft class. He has a chance to go out and further prove that point and hammer it home. We're trying to change things here. You want to change the narrative, you need to be competitive in this game with the Cincinnati Bengals, even if you don't win. If you put up resistance in a fight, you will gain the respect of people off of your performance tonight. You go out, you get drubbed, and it's non-competitive. They'll say same old Commanders, same old skins. And it's hard to change the narrative if you're not changing your behavior and changing the outcome. We'll get to the point where we're changing the outcome. Tonight is about changing the behavior. One thing at a time. If you can change the outcome, the better, right? But tonight is about changing the behavior. Last year, in a similar spot, we got embarrassed. Both times we were on national television last year, we got embarrassed. You want respect? Respect is not given, it is earned. We got to go take some tonight. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. Here's a great example of that. Let's see what they do. See you guys later on tonight. Y'all know what it is. Until then, y'all take care. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good.